And now we will have the remarks from Vice Chairman of the Prince William County School Board, the Honorable Lillie Jessie.
I want to thank Dr. Cunningham, and I think you called it sequencing, but I did the kit. And all of my life, my mother told me we were at least 1/4 American Indian. My grandmother is on the staircase, long hair, bangs, looks American Indian. So when I sent the kit away, I was sure I was going to come back American Indian. He came back and said, "You are from Africa and you're Scandinavian." So my girls were saying, "Mom, you let us down. We thought you were really American Indian." I'm still claiming American Indian, but I bring you greetings from the Prince William County School Board, and I came to this event a couple of years ago because I was an elementary principal, and I've learned a lot being on the board because it's forced me to look at what happens to kids once they leave elementary. I was very blessed to have a very high-performing school. They were high-performing because that's what we expected. And I call it the expectant strategy. As I look at these young men who are so bright and so gifted, and I'm on the board, and I just wonder why we're not demanding more from our school system. This type of work should be done at the building level, and I'm not sure what it takes to have that happen. My seatmate over there is Delon. Is it Delon? Did I say it correctly? And he said he was going to be a fashion designer. And he said, I used to get in trouble because I was drawing and doing things. And I remember as an elementary principal, the teachers would say to me, "Mrs. Jessie, come down to my room. This kid is sitting doing nothing." And my response was, "What is he doing while he's doing nothing?" And they said, what do you mean? I said, is he looking out at the sky? Is he writing? What is he doing? No one sits around and does nothing. You have to look at what kids are doing because it tells you who they are. And as it turned out, just like Delon, they were drawing. They were artists. You know, all of our kids can learn. Not only can they all learn, they can learn at very high levels. And I would find this kid with all this artwork, and I would send him to the artist, our art teacher, and perhaps we would do, we would do a display. I once did an artist in residence program at my school. I did an artist in residence program at Neabsco Elementary where Faye Patterson, Stephanie's mom, who was one of my mentors also, and she'll remember Dorothea. Dorothea was a custodian. Dorothea was an artist. And so I put this display up, and I said, "Artist in residence," with a question mark. And no one knew that Dorothea was an artist. And from then on, I got whatever I wanted in my room as a teacher. The art teacher didn't treat her well, so she said, my room was cold, and Dorothea said, "I know why, but she wasn't kind to me." You have to be really good to custodians. In the booklet, I have to the future kings, "Your future is so bright that it hurts my eyes." And that's what Quincy Jones said to Oprah. All of my kids had sunglasses. And the sunglasses was just a reminder of how bright they were, every single child. And they would come and put their sunglasses on, and with the little ones, and we would just strike a pose with the sunglasses. And we put those pictures in the hallway. again, I can't believe that Mrs. Patterson came one day and we were talking about kindergartners and why do they go to the pumpkin patch. Teachers will give you all kinds of reasons, curricular-related objectives of why they go to the pumpkin patch. They only go to the pumpkin patch to buy a pumpkin. There's really no real curriculum objective. So she was saying to me, you really need to ask questions. She was a principal at NEAPSCO at that time. And so as a principal, one day they came to me and said, we want to go to the pumpkin patch. And I thought about it for a long time. And they came back about 3 weeks later and said, Mrs. Jessie, you didn't sign us up for the pumpkin patch. And I said, why do we go to the pumpkin patch? And they said, oh, we can do triangles. We can make triangles. You know, we can do that for math, and circles, and the color orange. You know, you have to make up something. And I didn't sign off for the first time. And I thought, why should we send them to the pumpkin patch to plant a pumpkin seed when we should be planting a seed of greatness in our kids? So my school was the first school to take every fifth grader at Vaughn went to Virginia Tech. We were the first elementary school to go to Virginia Tech. And we planted the seed of you can go to college, because my kids were pretty much like me. I came from a home where I was the only person in my house to go to college, barely the only one to get out of high school. So kids like that depend on us to plant the seed. And somebody said, I don't know if they're going to show up, Mrs. Jessie. 3 o'clock in the morning, 100 car lights in front of my school. Took us 4 to 5 hours to go to Virginia Tech. We were there the entire day, and they took us to all over the campus, the STEM lab. They took DNA from a strawberry. They met the cadets. They went to the cafeteria with all the different venues and went crazy. You can imagine 125 fifth graders in a college cafeteria. And we had a kindergarten to college week. And we started planting the seed very, very early. I have a couple of quotes that I live by. And one of which is, that I always told my kids, Dr. Jeff Howard from the Efficacy Institute says, smart is not what you are, but smart is what you become. Every child has the ability to do great things. They're not always the reading kids. They're not always the math kids. In fact, since I've been on the board, I begin to realize they're not always the college-bound kids. We have a program at our high schools now. We have HVAC in our high schools. We have various programs where hands-on, those kids who come to us and say, look, you know, it's not that I don't want to go to college, it's not who I am. I'm a hands-on person. And so many of those kids come back to Vaughn, and I credit Dr. Hill because I'm a learner, and so I knew that high school was not my forte, and I went to Northern Virginia Community College just to get a feel for that, and I was amazed at what happens at the level, that level. And he said, some kids are going to go for 2 years, but they'll walk out with a career. So as a member of the board, I have made it one of my objectives that every single child that graduates from Prince William County schools should graduate with either a career or be college bound. Because as parents, we want them to do what? Be self-sufficient and move out of the house. Amen, amen. And I have to brag on one of my schools, and that school is Occoquan Elementary. It has every type of kid who's, quote, quote, not supposed to learn at high levels, because you're always there at high levels. And he has achieved that. He's a nationally recognized school now, 94% pass rate in math, Title I school, students from different, speaking various languages. And they have a great time and they learn. When I was a principal, I was very fortunate and blessed to see kids perform at 100% level. I invited someone for an assembly, and in the SOL world, 400 is pass and 500 is advanced, and 600 is a perfect score. So all of my kids had gold cards. They all set goals. They knew how many questions they had to answer to get 500 and 400. They knew the scale score. So I invited, this person came in, and I said, how many kids in here are going to pass the SOL? And I looked around and nobody raised their hand, and I thought, oh, this is embarrassing. And then I thought about what we had been planning in their heads, and I finally said, okay, 500. So they said, oh, now you're talking, Mrs. Jessie. That's what you told us. And they believed it. The difference between me and other kids who don't make it and who have mentors like these people in their lives is I believed it when this man followed me up and down the hallway in a school that had little or nothing, because I watched kids go to school. I didn't ride a bus. I watched kids swim. I did all those things. And he kept walking up and down the hall saying, Lillie Mae, which is a sign I'm old because I'm using the word Mae. Lillie Mae, you're going to college. And I didn't believe it. My mom was a maid, my dad was a garbage man. No way. He kept saying that. And to those of you who are teachers and parents, in the world of curriculum, it's said that a child does not really use a word in his repertoire until he hears it 13 times. So every day, I would tell my kids how bright they are with their sunglasses, and I would call them the bright ones, bright ones, bright ones, until they believed it. Is the word yet. In other words, I don't have the answer yet. I don't know how to do that. What? Yet. I will work on it, but right now, I don't know it. I don't know it what? Yet. So to all of you, go out and get yetted. Thank you.